Welcome back, my Walking Dead fans. We are here at Season 9, Episode 11, called Bounty. And quite an episode this one is, if I do say so myself, and I do. But I just wanted to start, I want to break this into two pieces. And one is going to be first the travels of Ezekiel and Carol, and then we're going to hit the other back half about Alpha and at the gates with Daryl and the rest of the others as she's trying to get Lydia back. So, with that said, let's jump straight into it. We start off the episode, and we're looking at Carol and Ezekiel, but it looks like it's in the past just a little ways. And why do we know this? Is because Tara ends up riding up on horseback with Jesus, which we know Jesus is no longer with us. And looks like they're trading some supplies and this and that. And it finds out that Tara has left Alexandria, probably against Michonne's wishes. And I'm sure it was, because it sounds like she took extra supplies, and she also ended up taking that declaration thing that I think her and Michonne and Ezekiel were trying to work on together a little bit to, make a new one day for all the communities to come together, have rules and regulations, all that stuff. So this is very important to Ezekiel, so he appreciates that greatly. Kind of a dick move by Tara, I just think, because wow, you just straight up left Alexandria just like that. I mean, clearly there's some bad blood there, but I'm like, well, I guess that's how that went down. And then Tara, I guess, obviously made it to Hilltop, and of course now she's the leader. So with that said, so they come together, and it seems that Ezekiel and Carol are preparing for a fair that they're throwing. And I guess it's probably also trying to bring the communities together and have this big shindig going on. But while they're out and preparing and gathering the last supplies, Ezekiel tries to kind of go off on his own with a few of the others on a side mission. And Carol catches him red-handed. And so she, of course, being Carol, asks him, what the hell is this, and why are you trying to keep it a secret from me? Because it's pretty much a bullshit scheme that he's trying to do, but it does have some kind of merit behind it. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to get this projector bulb so that they can run their projectors for their cinema. So they get to this, I guess it's the Royale Theater, or Royal Theater, which one do you like? I kind of like Royale myself, a little Royale with cheese. But they get to this theater, and of course there's at least 20 plus walkers just in the entrance barricaded alone, right? So they got to get through those and whatever else is on the other side. So Carol, of course, questioning this whole mission and what they're trying to do, but Ezekiel's trying to bring some bit of cinema and art back to his people and even children, because they don't even know what a movie is. And when you really sit back and think about that concept, to me it's mind-blowing. I love cinema. I love so much and everything about it. It builds so many things and who we are and how we act as people, and the music and scores and everything that's come from it. It's just amazing. So to know that if my children could never be able to experience that, I think it would be a crime against humanity. So is it worth it? I mean, is it worth a life? Maybe not so much, but they are abled warriors, and they are kind of in a confined space, so maybe they can work this out. Supposedly there's a herd nearby, but not close enough to be a threat, so they're going to try and work this out. So they get in, they do their thing. I gotta admit, the zombies inside the movie theater were gnarly. The first one I noticed had like those kind of 3 gashes in his upper forehead, and I was like, what the hell was that all about? And it didn't take long before we finally saw this area, I guess, where a bunch of zombies were barricaded in, and there was like this popcorn machine down below, and this one female zombie tries to start making her way through, and it's, I guess, the metal from the turner or whatever, it just scalps her and whatever. It was nasty as hell, but hey, good job, Walking Dead. I'd always love your zombies, your kills, and so forth like that. Carol bringing in the bow inside. Hey, I'm just throwing this out there. Bow is probably not the weapon of choice inside of a close quarters building, right, guys? I mean, you have tight corners. You don't know what's around the next corner. Could it be a herd or so forth? You're gonna need something that you can move quickly with. I'm sorry, you're no Legolas. You're not gonna be able to whip those arrows out like you did in Lord of the Rings, okay? So maybe just stick with the knife, the spears, and so forth like that. Oh, and the sword. Jerry's sword is badass, by the way. So much loving that. Getting away from the axe. Although the axe is so deadly brutal and whatnot, the sword is a nice change of pace. Sorry guys, I'm still getting over this cold. I'm going on 2 weeks now. It's probably a sinus infection. Gotta love it. Anyway, so getting back to it, they find the bulb. Jerry finds the bulb, and they end up bubble wrapping this thing up, and they're ready to go. A zombie comes out of nowhere, of course, startles the hell out of them. He ends up dropping into like this shaft that goes into another room that has another 30 to 40 walkers. I mean, that's not a small feat. 30 to 40? I mean, especially if we only brought like 10 or 12 warriors with you. But before they decide just to pack up and leave and just go on, Carol, amongst all of them, says, no, this is what we came for. Let's get it done. And that's what I love about Carol. Once you get that fire inside of her and she finally believes in the cause or the mission or whatever you're after, she will see it through. And that's very admirable. So they do. They slice and dice. They fire their arrows and the barrage and all that stuff. And they get their prize. So that's very cool. So looks like the fair will move on and they'll be able to show some cinema. And they had some scenes about that at the end of the episode. Now, let's get to the real nitty-gritty here. Let's talk about Alpha at the gates, while Tara, Daryl, and all the others are at their top lookout posts, amongst their metal sheeting. And Alpha calls out one demand only. She says, I want my daughter. This is it. Nice and simple. But there's a few other things that she calls out in her conversation, which was very short and to the point. But it's like, she says that, your people crossed into our lands, okay? Right? You crossed into our... So Hilltop crossed into your lands, okay? And then your people killed my people. Yeah, pretty sure that your people were already stalking Hilltops, right? And also trying to take them out and murder them. Furthermore, your lands... Lydia's already talked about this, and we can already see this right now. You guys move from place to place, pretty much scavenging and destroying anything that's good or bad for that matter. So I call total bullshit on all this. This is just a ploy, pretty much to get her daughter back, and this is obviously the start of something, a beginning. No doubt, obviously, we're just getting really into the bulk of the season, and we have so much more that they'll hit probably when it comes back to the fall. But yeah, clearly these, I know Daryl's not falling for this, and that's probably why he plays superb a hardball. He's just like, what do you want? Well, first, what do you want? And then I think she asked, like, who should I address as the leader? And he's just like, who gives a shit? I mean, and she goes, well, I'll dress all. So, you can see that, use that banter back and forth. And she says she doesn't want conflict. Daryl could give two shits. He just wants to mow him down, which kind of makes you wonder, why don't they? I mean, they definitely have the ammo supply to do it. The only main question is, how many more are there? And with a snap of pretty much her fingers, Alpha ends up calling in another 15 to 20 of her pretend undead whisperer peeps to come in and back them up. So they look to be about 30 strong, maybe more. Obviously there's probably more out there, but the question is how much more? I mean, is it like Negan? Is it compound after compound? Probably not, but there probably are a lot of these people meshing with these hordes of, herds, whatever, of zombies and getting them from place to place and destroying, like I said, anything that's good in their path. So she requests for Lydia. So Daryl, he finally realizes he has no choice because they bring up Luke and Alden, and they're pretty much, all tied up, they have their zombie masks on, and now they have knives to their throats. So it's pretty much give them Lydia or they die. And so it's pretty much a no-brainer, right? So Daryl knows what he has to do, even though Lydia seems like she does have potential. She's been hurt as a child. She's been brainwashed, beaten. I mean, it would suck to have to give this girl back to this evil mother or whatever figure, mother figure. But he knows he has to do it. So he goes to get her, and like clockwork, without fail, Henry has managed to F things up once again. I mean, just for this point in time. I mean, I know we saw the whole episode and it all worked out, but this is my point. I mean, this kid, he works off of impulse and he's irrational. I mean, yes, he's trying to use his compassion and so forth too, and clearly he's in love. Yes, I do realize this. He's in love, and he's young, and that's a very confusing thing to young people, especially when it's like your first love and you're just understanding like what it can be and the potential. So he takes Lydia and escapes to that little drinking hideout where him and his buddy friends from Hilltop went that one time. And so he's hiding her there. Luckily, one of the girls who's been to that spot knows probably where they're going. She tells Enid and her go to get them. Anyways, you fast forward, they get there. Lydia's finally got some fresh clothes on. Obviously, things are feeling a little bit different, but she can, I think, it looks legit. Like Lydia could be an actual normal person, a normal functioning person in this world. I mean, she hasn't been completely corrupted, but a lot. So Enid gets there. She calls out Henry. Henry goes out. They try to have this conversation. Enid's trying to talk to him about the changes, or what things do to you. She saw her parents die and so forth, how that changed her. It was all about survival until she met Carl. And Carl, gave her some really good backing as a person and who she could be, in the future and so forth. And who she is now, being a doctor, helping others and trying to do the right thing. Henry can't see past it. He just can't help but know that he's giving this girl, which is probably his love, or at least a potential love, to a monster. And I get that. I do get that. But unfortunately, she is not part of your group, okay? She's not. She could be. But unfortunately, the given situation, you have to give her up. So we fast forward, and they end up giving Lydia back. And luckily, and you know what? In this entire exchange, I just kept feeling like something's wrong here. Something's wrong. Something's not going to go right. And I was wrong. Everything did go fine for the most part. It was very interesting to see the different styles, though, of what the people were returning to. Luke came up to hugs, and so glad to have you back. Enid starts crying and hugs Alden, kisses him. And what does Lydia get when she approaches Alpha, her mother? And I knew this was coming. I said, oh my God, she's going to beat her right there in front of everybody. And it wasn't a full beating, but she gave her a decent slap upside the face. And I think Lydia called her mom. And Alpha just kind of pulls her close and goes, it's Alpha. And I'll call everything else. And it's just like, I'm sorry, what a bitch. I mean, this woman is ruthless, which, by the way, is what I'm loving about her. I mean, this is a different style of a villain. I can't think, my brain, the cold. A different type of villain that we are experiencing here on The Walking Dead. I really truly think so, and I'd like to hear what you guys think so too. Do you like how this villain's being portrayed so far compared to the comics? I don't watch or read the comics, but I know that we've definitely deviated from that path. So, because obviously Carl was the one that ends up getting with Lydia. Now it's going to be Henry. So I get what they're doing with the story, and it's turning out pretty cool, and there's so much to expand on. We already saw the next scenes from the next one, and it looks like Henry this is the very end of the episode. Henry ends up leaving. He leaves a note for Daryl and the others, basically saying he can't live with the decision that they've made, and he's got to go find her. I get it, man, but boy, it's not bright. It's not bright, and at least you could have tried to talk it out with Daryl and some of the others. I'm sure they would have tried to work something out. I mean, especially after Daryl and seeing her and finding that, similarities of being beaten and punished by a loved one like that. So Daryl decides to basically go out and track Henry down, which we all know Daryl's capable of, except I don't want to lose Daryl, so this is a dangerous mission. Luckily, Connie is able to kind of jump in front of him before he leaves and says she wants to go too. And I did kind of skip over her scene, and I'm going to hit that back real quick right now. So Connie was in that cornfield, right, when Alpha was at the gates and so forth, and an actual zombie horde started moving in, and so they're trying to, I guess Alpha's just like, no, let the horde come in a little closer, but just keep them around the outskirts and so forth. There was a woman with a baby that was in Alpha's group, right, and the baby wouldn't quiet down. Of course, it's a baby. What the hell? What do you expect? And the mother, she starts freaking out. You can see the fear in her eyes, her lips trembling. And she looks to Alpha, and Alpha just kind of turns around to her, and she just kind of goes, and what? You do what you're supposed to do. And this woman lays her baby down on the ground to be eaten by the walkers. I mean, I've seen it all. I mean, I was just like, what the frick, my wife, she's over on the side, she goes, no, don't even. And I was like, holy crap. Now luckily Connie sees all this, and Luke, even though his hands are tied behind his back, is actually sending messages to Connie in the cornfield. He spots her, so he's able to kind of tell her what's up. So that was pretty neat. I love the whole death thing going on in this season, just kind of showing that aspect, because we've never seen that before. Connie runs out very bravely, gallantly, to get the baby and starts taking out a few of the undead, the actual real undead, makes it back into the cornfield, which was an awesome, intense scene. And I just want to throw out there real quick and right now that I've been wanting to do a cornfield scene for like the last year and a half, okay? So if you guys end up seeing it in my Dead Nightmare series, don't go off and start saying, oh, you just copied Walking Dead. But no, I've been wanting to do this, but it's been the timing of trying to, and actually finding a cornfield that I can use, because supposedly they reuse the corn and so forth, and so I've been finding a lot of farmers that are reluctant to let me on their land. It's going to happen, but yeah, so just so you know, I was already thinking this shit before this was probably in pre-production on there, and I'm just throwing it out there. So, but Connie does make it through, but barely. I mean, and it was so intense. I mean, the zombie, was coming out. Zombies were coming out from this way and that way, and she's taking them out with her knife. So awesome. She's very brave. I love her character. But luckily, Daryl and a few of the others were able to get out there, Kelly and so forth, to save her at pretty much almost the last second. So that was amazing. They do make it back, and all is well. So we have Daryl and Connie basically making their way out to track down Henry as he's trying to find Lydia. As we've seen from the next scenes, or some of you, if you've seen them, the next scenes, it looks like he is definitely going to find their group. And Beta, the big dude, which I'm waiting to see what this dude's all about. He looks menacing and dangerous. I mean, the dude's just huge. And he just kind of rips him up and throws Henry to the side and says he's been tracking him for a while. And supposedly Henry was tracking them even further than that. So yeah, we got some serious things going on. I cannot wait to see where the season goes. Again, even with the losses of our awesome heroes, Rick and Maggie and some of the others, the show is still a lot of fun, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking about this episode and what went down. And do you agree with Henry? I mean, am I by myself on this one? Am I just being cold? I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I am compassionate, and I would want to save a loved one or even a close friend, but she's not even that to these guys. So would you, as Henry, I mean, would you be willing to sacrifice two people that you know are part of this community for this new love or friendship, love, whatever you may have found? I'd love to hear your guys' comments on that for our discussion this week. So with that said, guys, not much else going on. I will try and have a movie for Movie Mondays tomorrow. I will have a movie out to you, except it might be a little bit later in the evening, but either way, I'll try and make the deadline, and of course, we're still writing for episode 7, but we're starting to get ready and getting ready to do some filming. So if you're new to the show, if you're new to this channel, make sure to go out and check out my Dead Nightmare series that's out there. So it's good stuff. It's fun. It's no Dead Nightmare, it's no Walking Dead, but we have a lot of fun with it, and we do the prosthetics, we do the makeup, and maybe a little overboard, but we have a hell of a lot of fun. So I hope you get a chance to see it. With that said, I am Mike Schilling, your host with the Z-Man Show, and we will see you at the next review. See ya.